Welcome back to A Nice Place to Podcast, your go-to for all things Fountain Valley, where each episode we explore the fun, informative, and educational topics that showcase why Fountain Valley is truly a nice place to live.
Hello and welcome back to A Nice Place to Podcast. I am your mayor, Ted Bui, and I will be your host for Season 2. I'm happy to introduce our guest speaker for today, Congressman Derek Tran. In this episode, Derek Tran and I will have a discussion on his initiative and plans for 2025. For those who don't know you, can you tell us about your journey from your family's immigrant story, your service in the military, and now serving in the Congress?
Yes, good morning, Ted, Mayor Bui. Good morning to all the Fountain Valley viewers out there. I am Derek Tran, Congressman for California's 45th District. Such a pleasure to be here on this podcast and to share a little bit about my story with you all. Really, my story starts with my family, like all of ours do. My parents were Vietnamese refugees who came to this country after the fall of Saigon in 1975, but they suffered immense hardship in order to get here. My father, in his initial attempt, lost his first family, his wife and 4 children. He survived, and with my 3 half-sisters, they try to come over to the U.S. as refugees, as boat people, and unfortunately the boat capsized, killing his first family. He went back to Vietnam and met my mom and had to get out because of the communist regime, so they made the attempt again. Second time he made the attempt, he was successful. They were on the refugee islands for about a year, and the U.S. let them in. So we got here, and I was born in the U.S., and that's how my story started.
Wow, thank you for sharing such a tragic story of your family, and I can't fathom how, as a child, when you see all that happening through your life. So thank you so much for sharing those moments and part of your history. As we look ahead, what inspired you to pursue in a career in public service, and how you have personal experience influence your approach to leaderships and policy making?
Yeah, look, I think I grew up, as many of us do, in a household of immigrants, and the struggle was very real in my family. But there was also a deep appreciation from me and my siblings on how much this country has done for our family. So when I turned 18, I knew I had to give back. I enlisted in the military, Army Reserves, served 8 years. That was my way of paying back this great country that took in my parents, that helped us when we needed help, a hand up, not a handout. We were on programs such as Medi-Cal. We were on WIC, food stamps, Section 8 housing. That was our story. And my way of giving back to my community and country was to serve in the Army. And I was very proud of that service. And that's how I fell in love with the public service. And it continues to this day. And my role and capacity as a U.S. Congressman is to continue to give back to my communities, my constituents, and my country.
Wow, what a great story. Given the same situation, if in my younger years, if I have to do it all over again, that's probably one of the things that I would like to do as well, serve in the military. But unfortunately, I'm too old for that now. So that's a great story. Thank you for sharing that. And what are some of your top priority for our district?
I look at my district, California's 45th District, as each individual city having their own priorities. But first and foremost, my job as the congressman is to represent all of California's 45th District, from North Fullerton all the way down to Fountain Valley. With that being said, my focus, I sit on the Armed Services Committee and the Small Business Committee in Congress. I will always have a focus, and I will be looking out for those veterans that served our country. That's very important to me. That's why I introduced my first legislation as a congressman to protect veterans. It's called the Protect Veterans Jobs Act. It's to make sure that any veteran that was wrongfully or without cause fired from federal government, they are to get their job back. Second to that is sitting on the Small Business Committee. We are a vibrant community out here in California's 45th District in Southern California. A lot of our businesses are small businesses, and I recognize that. I own a small business with my wife. So the dedication to serve on small business, I've already had 2 bipartisan bills, one of them dealing with the small business advocacy group, allowing them to look at international data. So then small businesses here can benefit from a global perspective. And then the second bipartisan bill that I was able to initiate in small business really deals with cutting red tape so that small businesses have better access to capital.
Wow, you sing the same music I sing. I've gone to your website, I've looked you up, and you are an advocate for small business, such as I myself. You probably know this already. So we both have the same passion in terms of supporting local small business, especially small business owners. So I'm so happy to hear that. And I think a lot of our local small businesses happy to and thrilled to hear our Congressman Derek Tran are supporting small local businesses. As you know, I do the same. Whatever I can in all local jurisdictions. By saying that, do you? I know that this is more of a state matter because, as you know, that PAGA is a state. I have not seen this in any other state except California. But as a congressman, can you do anything about the PAGA that is out there, which is reference to? I'm not sure you're familiar with the PAGA lawsuit, and the biggest challenge that facing local business these days, particularly in California, is the PAGA lawsuit. And if I could help, if you don't know, I could share you a little bit of that. But you might know that already. So if you could help on that perspective.
Sure. Look, I think there's a place for different types of legislation out there, such as the Private Attorney General's Act. I think that's just what you're referring to. As an attorney myself, I understand that there are certain avenues for those that are injured to be able to pursue litigation from a more class perspective and being able to bring these actions as though they were a private attorney general allows them the ability to seek justice. This definitely is something that comes from the state of California, and it's unique to our great state.
Okay, great. Thank you. What are the key issues you're currently focusing on, and how do you plan to address that?
Like I said, the committees I sit on will really help me focus what I plan to do in Congress. That's anytime we're dealing with our troops and our soldiers, our national security, sitting on armed services, making sure they're taken care of, and that readiness for our troops is a very important aspect to lethality for the U.S. military. Small businesses continue to cut red tape so then we can get the capital we need. There's crime that consistently is something that our communities are concerned about, and that's at the forefront of what I do when I'm back in the district, meeting with whether it's the local police chiefs or the local sheriffs to make sure that they are focusing on our communities in a safe and effective manner. And then immigration is something that we continue to deal with in Southern California, being so close to the border.
That's correct. Okay, what goal do you have for your district over the next few years?
I want to be able to continue to prioritize those issues that are important to each one of my various cities. Like, for example, here in Fountain Valley, what I've been told that is one of the most critical, important improvements that we can do is for the fire station. I understand that. We're working together, my office and the great city of Fountain Valley, to make sure that we can deliver and give the residents what they need. And each city has their own unique issues and priorities. And I'm going to continue to service those cities in the way that they need me to, but always listening to what their concerns are first.
Great. I'm so happy you brought that up because I was going to touch up brought on that topic and you just brought it up. That's perfect. So you heard right from the mouth of our Congressman Derek Tran that he's here to support our city with this very monumental, very important for us to have our next fire stations to serve this community. As we all know that the old fire station is outdated. It's spent its life expectancy, so we really need a new fire station. Thank you so much, Congressman, for allowing all of us, our fire chief, I believe our fire chief have met with you and work with you, hopefully get some funding to help start up our new fire station. So thank you so much for that. Before we wrap up, is there anything else that you would like to share with our listener?
Yeah, I appreciate this opportunity very much to address the citizens of Fountain Valley. I want everyone to understand that we have a very open door policy at my office. If there's anything you need from your congressman, from me, please reach out. If we cannot help you because it's a state or local issue, we're going to do our best to hand you to the right person in the state or local government that can help you. Otherwise, we are here to assist and help however we can, and that's part of my job. And taking care of you is a very important part of it. Thank you so much.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Congressman Derek Tran. He has a very busy schedule. Take a little small snapshot of his schedule to be here, to answer some of the questions, share his visions. Thank you so much for that. Since you say reach out to your office, who would you like for our audience to reach out? Because your Congress, most of the time you spend is in Washington, D.C. Is there any particular personnel that you would like our listener to reach out? Should they ask any questions? Or if we need help, anybody?
My staff, any one of my staff, when you pick up the phone and you call my office, is ready to help and assist. Whether it's going to be the district director or the field rep or the constituent service manager, we are going to make sure that you get the help that you need.
Okay. Since you mentioned the district director, so who is the district director for our area?
We have Cody Mendoza as our district director.
Cody Mendoza. Great. Thank you so much. There you have it. If you need to reach the whole of the Congressman Derek Tran, reach out to his district director, Cody Mendoza. Once again, thank you so much for everyone for listening, and we look forward to see you all on the next episode.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Fountain Valley.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to A Nice Place to Podcast. If you'd like to be a guest or have a topic you'd like covered, email us at fvproud@fountainvalley.gov. Until next time, thank you for listening.